Coming from NetPicks headquarters, it's the Day Trading Authority with Mark Soberman and Brian Short.
All right, everybody, welcome to the latest issue. I don't know what you say with the podcast, but welcome to the latest Day Trading Authority podcast. This is Mark Soberman, and I'm joined today by Brian Short, as always, and also we have a special guest, which we will introduce in a moment, but that will be top secret until we get to that point of the program. So again, welcome everybody. Brian, are you with me today?
Mark, I'm with you, and once again, it's great to be back. Looking forward to another podcast session.
Sounds good. So obviously when you listen to this, it could be any time of the year. These are always timely. They never run out. It's that type of information, but it is November for us. Hard to believe at this point that we're going to be running into the holidays here pretty soon. It does impact trading a little bit. Keep that in mind, especially for the day traders out there, or even you swing traders. Understand that Thanksgiving week always quiets down, and then of course you already know that we've got our December holidays. Obviously there's plenty of things that should really make for some really nice trading conditions for everybody. The week that we're talking here, we actually had really great trading for most of the week until really here Friday, when it finally sort of died down a little bit and consolidated. I want to give you a few links. Just make sure you go to netpicks.com/podcast. If you want to catch up on back issues, that's a great place to go. Of course, iTunes is even better. You can go ahead and you can subscribe in iTunes, and that'll make sure that the latest issue, podcast, whatever we're calling it, will show up on your phone. That's how I do it, and you can subscribe that way, which is really easy, and then you can be in your workout or in the car or stream it on Bluetooth, whatever is easy for you. We'd love to have a great review from you, if you wouldn't mind, in iTunes. That's always helpful. If you appreciate this free information that we share, that would be excellent. Another couple of links, netpicks.com is a great place to go. There's something called the Learning Center on there. There's lots of free information. Go to the Learning Center, put your email in if you want. There's multiple articles that are written and released every single week, videos as well. You'll learn a ton, and there's no charge for any of that. The final thing I'll pass along is we're on a roadshow right now. We've been traveling all over the U.S., and this is to do with our Premier Trader University. And you can also go to premiertraderuniversity.com. Make sure you put an E on the end of Premier. And typically, if we have a roadshow going, a little pop-up will come up, and it'll tell you what cities we're heading to next, and we'd love to meet you. So give us a great opportunity to talk to you, teach you a little bit about trading, share our latest systems, and it's been great so far. We've met all kinds of people in a number of cities, so a lot of that is coming up. So just go to the website. You'll always get the latest information there. Brian, before we bring in our special guest today, I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to throw in, or if I forgot anything.
No, that's pretty much it. You reminded me that I'm going to be leaving here for the week and going on the road. So we would welcome you if you are going to be in the Phoenix area. And I know this might not be timely, but we're going to be in Phoenix, Orange County, LA, and the Vegas Investors Expo. So if you happen to hear this in the next day or so and can get out to those locations, that would be awesome. We'd love to meet you in person.
Very good. All right, so what we wanted to do today, a little bit different than our normal format. Typically we have some specific sections that we cover, but we wanted to bring in Troy Noonan, and Troy has been with us for quite some time. I have no idea when it comes to calendars and length, but it's been years, and Troy is really one of our main system developers. He's had out for the last few years a very successful 7 summits trader. Some of you may even use it in your trading even today, and sometimes we call it for short SST. And we're really excited because we're releasing in this upcoming week, as part of our university, the brand new system called the Trend Jumper. So it's officially called the PTU Trend Jumper. It's a high-frequency trading system. All kinds of focus on Forex and futures, and I know I said high frequency, but it actually is even high frequency swing trading. So it's day trading and swing trading, Forex and futures. It's really Troy's brand new first thing in a couple years at least here. people that have been beta testing it are going crazy for it. So we thought it'd be a really neat opportunity to bring Troy on. Let me ask him and Brian ask him some questions about the trend jumper, what's so good about it, and what it can do. So without any further introduction, Troy, are you with us?
Yeah, I am, Mark. Hello, Brian. Great to be here today.
Well, it's always great to have you. So let's just jump right in, and I'm going to ask you a few questions here. I'll put you on the spot. The first thing I'm going to really start with is just what the heck is Trend Jumper and what's it all about?
Okay, good question. The Trend Jumper is a result of my calling live trades in a trade room for 4.5 years, everything I've learned and kind of digested, and then it just kind of turned into the Trend Jumper. Also my experience of developing and trading the SST for so long. It's a really simple strategy based on pure price action, and what it tries to do is identify immediate support and resistance levels on the chart that it could jump off of for high percentage reliable profits.
Yeah, one thing that's always interesting with a podcast like this is that we understand visually you don't get to see this, so we'll do our best to describe a few things. But one thing you may want to do, you can go to netpicks.com/hangout, and you can even see some of the demos we've done recently, just in case that's something you want to do, or go to premiertraderuniversity.com, and we always post to our blogs and things like that, walkthroughs, so you can sort of visually see what Troy is going to be describing. But Troy, what are some of the, on the futures side, what are the markets where you're seeing the best results?
Mark, I am seeing really good results on a whole bunch of markets. I'm trying to look at just a variety, and for sure the 4 major E-minis, the Russell, the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ, very consistent performers. I like to use tick charts, but you could see that it's working on other types of charts as well. I love the petroleum products, crude oil, unleaded gas, which you turned me on to. It works great with Trend Jumper, and I really like heating oil futures as well. But it works great with the grains. Wheat is one of my favorites. It works good on the others as well. And I'm also showing some DAX and Eurobund during the European trading hours, which is also doing excellent.
So let's say somebody has $5,000. They've had a little bit of experience trading futures. They're really not profitable, or they've been break even. What would you recommend? I mean, those are lots of great options, but there's always we got to make decisions on what to trade. So if I've got $5,000, what would you tell me? Where should I start with Trend Jumper?
In the world of trading, of course, $5,000 isn't a whole lot of money, but it is sufficient. You can begin trading, and Trend Jumper is an excellent choice because the risk is so small on most of these trades, and it gives you such a great risk-reward ratio that, and also just high percentage winners. I would say you can start with the Dow E-mini, the NASDAQ, or even the S&P, which, hopefully you practice first. The S&P does take a little bit of additional practice because it's got some additional challenges, but with 5,000 you can do it, and I think you can trade the grains. I mean, wheat futures would be an excellent choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are perfect recommendations, and certainly we always say, as your account grows, it's really easy just to trade a second contract, and then you also can start to add additional markets. So certainly, like Troy mentions, the Dow E-mini, NASDAQ E-mini, wheat futures, it's all going to be well within a comfort zone. Now, if you start with, what if somebody was to start with $25,000? I mean, do you have any advice for that person?
Well, yeah, I do. I would say, first of all, pretend you only have 5,000, because if you're new to trading or you're new to the system, you want to protect your capital and make sure that you master the strategy, and that involves building up a belief structure. You have to actually give yourself the gift of the big perspective. Okay, so let's just say you've done all that. Then you could easily trade crude oil, unleaded, any of the petroleums. I mean, heating oil, unleaded gas, and crude oil are 3 amazing choices. Of course, you can go with the other ones I said, and you could throw the Russell E-mini in there, and there's probably a whole bunch of other good choices as well.
I guess sometimes it's also time of day that you're available. Most of these are U.S. market hours. When do you typically suggest people trade? I mean, as far as do they trade during lunchtime, in the evening? When's the best time to typically day trade the futures?
Well, if you're day trading futures, the best motion in the market is when you want to be trading. If there's movement in the market, then the trend jumper just works great. And you always find good movement right when the market opens. You wait a couple minutes. With crude oil, I like starting 10 minutes prior. Actually, there's some good movement early on. So for me, it would be 8:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But with the E-minis, I want to wait till the market to open, 9:30 Eastern or 8:30 Central, and then wait like 2 minutes. And then from that point on, you could trade. And I think it's good to just try to get one winning trade, a positive result, and then you're done. And keep it very minimal, and just steadily grow your account like that. Minimize your risk exposure to the market.
And I guess we would say if you're in Europe or Australia, I mean, we literally have an install base with our systems like SST in over 100 countries. So what are some of the markets maybe they can consider if, U.S. business hour morning isn't good for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, the European session has some great options. I mean, the DAX is a really good one. You do need a larger account for that, but I think you'd be very happy with the Eurobund. Very steady, 9 a.m. Eurex exchange time. I believe that would be, 9 a.m. in Germany, I think, if you had to put it to a geographic location. And you start
typically I think 3 o'clock New York time in the morning, if you want to work backwards from that.
Okay. And so, again, it's just been doing really great. I mean, just today alone, the DAX had one winning trade, quitting with the first trade, 49 points. I mean, that's 1,225 euros. And the Eurobond was able to get 16 ticks, and that was good for 160 euros.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about I think the Eurobond, you're right, is you can definitely, it's a smaller account, friendly. It's not super volatile, like you mentioned. It's per tick. It's 10 euro dollars. The symbol for those of you who want to take a look at it is FGBL, and there's tons of volume, so there's all kinds of liquidity on that. It's kind of equivalent to our interest rate futures here in the U.S., and there's lots of volume on interest rates futures in the U.S. And for the DAX, the symbol is FDAX. Also has great volume. I've never had a problem with liquidity, including on multiple contracts, very minimal slippage. So that can be a good one. Another one that's been mentioned to me recently by James Kessick, who works for us out of the UK, is the FGBX, and I'll probably say it wrong, but I'm going to say it's called the Buxel. I don't know how they say it in Europe. It's BUXL. That's how I'm saying it. So, but the FGBX, and I've done some looking into that, and it's got great movement, but also it's kind of a step up from the bund. It's 10 euro per tick, so unlike the DAX, which is 25 euro per point, but it also is sort of like twice the, how do you say this, almost like each bar is sort of double the size, so it's sort of double risk, double reward compared to the bond, but probably not quite as much risk and reward as the DAX, so maybe it falls somewhere in between the two. So that would be two great choices. And I guess, I mean, let's talk about Forex a little bit. I mean, certainly Forex in the European hours would be good as well as the U.S. with the trend jumper. What are you experiencing with Forex? What are your recommendations there?
Yeah, that was actually my next point, because you do have people in Eurasia too, and Forex is a good choice for them as well. For me personally, I prefer to use the slower charts and swing trade Forex. And my favorite trade is with the trend jumper. It's using a daily chart. And that way I just look at my charts once at the end of each session and place my trades. And I've just found it to be extremely easy to trade and very profitable and quite resilient as well. Even when you experience a loss here and there, it seems to snap back with much larger winners. And 2012 has been a banner year actually for swing trading Forex with trend jumper.
So do you think the approach is daily chart, just trade the euro US dollar? Is that kind of the strategy?
No, actually, you wouldn't. First of all, you wouldn't get enough activity with a daily chart. You'd only get like 0 to 3 trades a month for one thing with any one chart. But also, you wouldn't be taking advantage of one of the strengths that Forex offers, and that is diversification. So because it's an end-of-day chart, Mark, and because it's so easy to take your time, think it through, place your trades, I literally follow 15 different Forex pairs. And then that keeps me pretty active, because if I'm only getting 0 to 3 trades per month per pair, but then you multiply that by 15, I'm taking several trades every week, and that's got me doing pretty darn good, and I'm just as busy as I want to be trading in that fashion.
I guess doing it that way too, do you sort of get yourself out of the prediction business, trying to fundamentally guess what market's going to take off and get hot, right? I mean, just by kind of having that broad exposure.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you bring that up, because that's so true with day trading as well. I mean, I don't know what you felt about these sessions leading up to and during the day of the election, but in my mind, I was thinking that the markets are just going to chop back and forth and indecision and just be terrible, especially with how close the election was. And the fact of the matter is that it was the exact opposite. I mean, we saw some of the best trading we've seen in a long time, even on the day of the election and the day after and leading up to it. So trying to predict, I think, is fun, but when it comes to the business of trading, I don't think there's any place in that other than it just you end up shooting yourself in the foot and it hurts you. I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally probably the world's worst fundamental trader. I mean, every time I think something is going to go one way, it goes the other way. And that's just being completely honest. But I actually read a study recently where they looked at Fox News, CNBC, CNN, whatever. Anytime the pundits come on, and we're not just talking economics, pretty much anything, and it's literally no better than a coin toss, 50-50 on any issue, any prediction. The difference is people can come on to all those different TV shows and make all their stupid and false predictions, and there's no price to pay, right? There's never any accountability. But us as traders, we have all kinds of accountability because we feel it where? We feel it in our accounts. So I think you're right. I mean, I think when you start to make a lot of opinion, I know for me, boy, anytime I have an opinion is when I start to lose money.
Absolutely. I totally agree. People press me on what I think the market's going to do, and I kind of look at them and I go, yeah, it's going to do that.
That's how I am, yeah.
Or down. Is it going to win? Oh, yeah, it's also going to lose. I mean, it's going to do what it does, and all I want to do is be there to take the trade that's according to my trade plan. What's the next trade? Because that's my job, running my trading business, is exercising my business according to my plan. I don't care what the market does as long as it does something.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going to go play tennis here in a little while, and one of the guys I play with, knows that this is the business I'm in. He's also a Forex guy, and he'll come out and say, yeah, the Dow was up a lot today, and I'll be like, it was? I'll have to go to my iPhone to really realize that it was. Even though I may have traded the market, I don't really care if it was net up or net down because, right, we're just trying to take advantage of action in either direction. We don't have any bias. It doesn't matter which way any of these things go. To us, and that's really one of the beauties of it. With Trend Jumper, what would you say, let's say, first to the, call it the beginner, advanced beginner, what kind of learning curve for somebody like that, and then maybe, answer that same question for somebody who's got some experience?
Okay, well, I mean, even as a beginner, I'm going to assume that you at least know what a chart looks like, and you know that a green bar is up and a red bar is down. I mean, could I assume that for a beginner? That's pretty, hopefully the beginner has done a little bit of due diligence.
Assume they have a little bit of experience, not a lot though. They definitely haven't been successful, and they've played around a little bit with trading.
Well, the beginner has to learn the rules of the strategy. It's really simple. Probably takes about 15 minutes to learn the rules. It might take another, an hour or two with some repetition to then assimilate the rules and know them through and through. But it's a very simple, easy learning curve, much different than the SST, which did require quite a bit more. And so once you do that, though, you have to also teach yourself and train how to execute your trades, and that requires practice. But the good news is that you can do it all in a simulation account for free and keep all your capital safely on the sidelines. So you can learn how to trade, for no money really. You got to open an account, but once you've got your account, you don't have to risk your money. You can learn the system, learn how to trade with all the money safely parked, and then you can just take your time. I mean, there's no hurry. If it takes one person a day or two, maybe it takes you a few days longer just because you're working really hard at the execution, or there's one thing you haven't figured out yet. No problem. I mean, just keep at it. Repetition is the key, really, like with anything. And for the intermediate or advanced trader, I mean, you're going to love trend jumper because you already know how to execute trades. You go in with your bracket order already. You have a template in your platform. Whether you're using the Matrix for TradeStation or the Dome with NinjaTrader, you have a template in there. You place your trade, and you just slide your stops and targets to where they need to go. It shows you right on the chart. In essence, you click on the bar that gives you the trade. The whole trade is laid out for you, all the information you need, and you just kind of follow it. It's really simple, actually. You learn it really quick.
What about for somebody with the experience?
Well, that's actually what I was just referring
okay.
to, those intermediate trader, those with experience. Yeah, easy. One of the easiest systems.
Cool. Where do you think, so we know, I mean, I've seen Trend Jumper, I've traded with it, it's compelling, it's awesome, it does exactly what we're saying it does, but still, I can guarantee you, right, there's going to be that guy, that person, some people who will get it and will still find a way to fail with it. I mean, what are those failure points? I mean, what seems to cause that?
I think the number one failure point is trying to trade it before you've mastered not only the system, but just some regular common sense things about the markets in general. You have to be able to mitigate your risk exposure to the market. So we say don't overtrade. Don't trade in markets that you're undercapitalized in. Make sure you've practiced the strategy, and make sure you've seen enough trades so that you could believe in it. You will get losses like any other strategy, getting a loss here, a loss there, even a couple in a row, sometimes even more, sometimes 3 in a row. That's common with any strategy, and for those who have no experience with the market, it can be frightening. It gets you in touch with that whole primal sense of, you have to survive, and you just took a loss or two. Oh no, you panic, you quit. Those are the fail points. You don't give yourself the gift of the big perspective where you see, okay, well, even though it's had a couple losses, the winners come afterwards, and session after session after session, you're able to quit positive according to the trade plan. The equity keeps growing. That's when you start to get over those fail points and actually, you get in a good position to succeed.
Sure, that makes sense. So, typically, I mean, is it your opinion that it's just there's not enough practice in the trading? Is there just too much dancing around from market to market? Is there people get too discouraged over a few losers? I mean, how do you get that commitment to where you don't do just what I'm describing and constantly chasing that performance?
Yeah, real important question, Mark, because it's what everyone seems to experience when they're just starting out. So many traders are chasing the next, great strategy, and they never give any of them a chance. I mean, they might all be good, but a few losses, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. Their account went down, and now they're off running around looking for the next strategy in the same pattern over and over until they're just out of trading. And I have a very simple way of looking at it, and that is this. You have to build a belief structure. If you can't believe in what you're doing, there's no way you could succeed at it. And it does come with practice and repetition. You have the tools to do it, sim trading. I mean, why not? You can back test, which we always teach is critical for building a foundation so that you believe in your strategy. But also, the bigger thing for me is to know why I'm trading in the first place. And I trade to make money. But that doesn't mean whether this trade wins or loses, because I now have to take another trade. And then I have to take another trade. I mean, that's what we do as traders. We trade. So making money has to mean more than what the result is of this trade. Making money is the practice of trading. It's the business of trading, and it's your overall result that keeps growing. and you have to trade through losses to get to some winners sometimes, but you keep your risk very small and you stick to your plan, and then you grow your account accordingly and achieve your reason for trading in the first place, which is to make money. And that, I think, is the key.
Makes sense. Definitely. I mean, it's you just have to. I think we just talked about this just a few minutes ago in our weekly hangout. You just have to get through that 90 to 180 days. I mean, if you just can get through that, all the rewards that make trading so special happen. Brian, I wanted to bring you into this. Do you have any questions for Troy?
Yeah, Troy, you and I have talked a little bit about performance, but specifically on crude, one of my favorite markets. Can you kind of tell us how things have been going there? And then I think today's session was a little bit challenging. Kind of talk to that.
Yeah, sure. It was challenging. It's maybe the most challenging session that we've seen in weeks. Crude oil has been spectacular. You know, we were on the road show together. We had a lot of fun in October, and I was showing it off every single day live at that point in time. And, you know, just amazingly, it's just been on a real winning streak session after session. It literally hasn't had a losing session at all in October or in November until today. And even today, it finally climbed its way back, but you had to really trade through the session. And it was the PM session that really put it positive. But just, you know, overall, it's been winning in the high 70% range for the AM session and close to 80% even in the PM session. So it's just been great. I don't even like to make claims like that because it just seems so unrealistic, but that's literally what it has been doing. I don't expect it'll do that forever. I can only hope, but I expect that, you know, it'll probably drop down a little bit, but who knows? You just never know.
All right, Brian, appreciate that. One of the things, well, let me ask one other, maybe a couple other quick questions, Troy, as far as, you know, give us an idea. You get a successful trade in the Russell E-mini. What's that typically worth? What's a good average?
Well, the Russell E-mini, the range has been kind of light lately, and so like today, if you were trading with a power of quitting 1, for example, it literally only was.
No, more like I'm just saying on a successful trade. How much does it make on average on a successful trade?
A successful trade could make anywhere from say 12 to 25 ticks.
What does that mean in dollars?
All right, $10 a tick, so $120 to $250.
Cool. What about like crude oil?
Crude oil could make anywhere from say $100 to $300.
And that's per contract. And then what about something like Dow E-mini?
The Dow E-mini, that's going to make anywhere from say $50 to $150.
Cool. And then let me ask you on Forex, on the big swing trades, the daily charts, you know, what tends to be the pip range when you're successful?
Well, it depends on the pair, but it's in the hundreds of pips because with those trades, I like to use 2 positions, and the fixed target itself could be, you know, 100 to 300 pips, and then the trailing stop could go for quite a bit longer. I mean, I've seen 500 and 600 and 700 pip trades with Forex.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely what people need. A lot of times people on Forex are trying to scratch out 5, 6, 7 pips and then paying the broker half that, and it never amounts to anything.
Exactly.
So, you know, we have some other things that we test. We test a lot of different systems out there, and we've been running this one Forex system, Forex robot. I think it's got to be 6 months, 8 months. It's funny to watch it because it's taken tons of trades, and it's basically where it started. You know, so it's just kind of funny to watch it go up and down. But it's trying to scalp that market, and it just never gets anywhere. So
it's a whole lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's just, I guess the broker does well, and they're happy with you, but that's probably about it. So. Great. Well, I appreciate the time, Troy. That was great. I'm sure there's lots of interest on Trend Jumper. You know, this isn't to try to sell anybody on anything. We just want to give you information. Really the next steps for you, if you have any interest at all, is just seeing more about it and coming to one of our live webinars or watching one of our recorded webinars. If you're in our mailing list, you should be already getting notified of it. If you're not, you know, go to PremierTraderUniversity.com. feel free to log in, or I should say opt in there. Just leave your email address and we'll get you information. Or you can go to netpicks.com as well. And likewise, we'll do the same. And we like to share a lot of information with you first, so you guys can see it work, see the results. You see winners, you see losers, you'll see everything in between, and then you can make a good decision for yourself if this is a solution for you. It's going to be right for a lot of people, and the level of enthusiasm for it is quite high, especially when we get a chance to demo it. So give yourself that opportunity, especially if you've been struggling with your trading, or you're just not getting the results that you're after. So again, we appreciate everybody listening today. Certainly if you have any questions, you can always send those to info@netpicks.com. I think we also have a podcast at netpicks.com. So TJ, thank you very much.
Oh, it was fun. Thank you for having me.
All right, good success to everybody's trading. Thanks, Brian. We'll be back with you in the next Day Trading Authority.